David and Ziba. When David had gone a short distance beyond the summit, there was Ziba, the steward of Mephibosheth, waiting to meet him. He had a string of donkeys saddled and loaded with 200 loaves of bread, 100 cakes of raisins, 100 cakes of figs, and a skin of wine. The king asked Ziba, "Why have you brought these?" Ziba answered, "The donkeys are for the king's household to ride on. The bread and fruit are for the men to eat, and the wine is to refresh those who become exhausted in the desert." The king then asked, "Where is your master's grandson?" Ziba said to him, "He is staying in Jerusalem because he thinks, 'Today the house of Israel will give me back my grandfather's kingdom.'" Then the king said to Ziba, "All that belonged to Mephibosheth is now yours." "I humbly bow," Ziba said. "May I find favor in your eyes, my lord the king." And so, where we are at is that David has left the city of David, basically, Jerusalem, because one of his sons, Absalom, has decided to usurp the throne, take over, because he was highly favored of the people because he really flattered them and he was ready to take control. Remember, David had a lot of wives and concubines, so he had all these children, and Absalom was one of them that wanted to rule. He was more focused on wanting the kingship, and not so much necessarily being anointed and going through the whole process of, seeking what God's will is, right? And so at this point, Absalom has pretty much got people together, including those in the royal court, on his side to side with him, and to the point where Absalom would even possibly kill his own father, David. And so David is not he's not wanting that type of confrontation. And so he leaves Jerusalem, and he is also really leaving it in the Lord's hands because he knows that the Lord would be there. If he was to continue to lead Israel, then he knows that the Lord will be there for him. And in some ways, I think because David's done a lot. And when we get to Psalm, like I said before in a previous Bible study, we'll see just how much he knows, or knows to glorify the Lord, how much he loves the Lord, and so we'll get to see that as well. But he also is human. He also has shortages, and those are having all these wives, having all these sons, doing thing. He's done something that he shouldn't have done by committing a murder, having Bathsheba's husband murdered, and so now he's got all these children, and consequences can play out. Consequences can happen, and so always, if you see something off or I see something off, always correct me if I'm wrong. But if I'm not mistaken, that's what's going on. And so leave them in the comments, etc. And so right now, Ziba, who is the steward of Mephibosheth, is now coming out to David, or bringing stuff to David. And I believe at this time David may feel that Mephibosheth, because Mephibosheth was Jonathan's son, that Absalom wouldn't be kind to him. So he's making sure that people who are associated with Mephibosheth are taken care of. Bringing past to present, he's understanding that there's, I believe he's understanding that there's consequences to his actions, and he's also still loving his children, and so bringing past to present, do we have conflicts in families? And oh, this is going to be one of those Bible studies where this is gonna come up over and over again about conflicts, especially within families. Now, which is a good topic because you could have opinions on certain taboo topics and certain hot topics, and it could cause a problem within your family. And someone said something very, very good, and that is, don't be drawn into judgment when other people are judging. Don't be drawn into it, because you could end up starting to judge them. And what that is saying is, and how I see it and how it was worded to me, was basically, don't set yourself up to be prideful and prejudiced to people and their opinions and such, because, and try not, and focus on the Lord, focus on the love and what the Lord has to say. And when it comes to conflicts, or when it comes to arguments, especially in conversations, leave it to the Lord. Pray for yourself wisdom, pray for that other person or those other people for wisdom, because the Lord can wipe the scales from someone's eyes. The Lord can give you something, give me something to make, to give us more understanding of topics, of certain situations and things of life. And so, when we look at this story, though, today, especially what we're reading about today, is conflicts in family. That can be family, blood relatives. It could be extended family. It could be your Christian family, or your followers of the Lord, the way. It could be the family in the community, the family of the city, town, state, whatever, wherever you're at, country, that things could happen, and where we can refocus on the Lord when these things happen. And it's almost like, it's similar to being tested too. Things happen. What are you going to do about it? Who are you going to go? Who are you going to talk to? And who are you going to hope in? And so, with that, what kind of thoughts or feelings come to your mind? How does it make you feel, and what does it make you think?